Did I get everyone? What? And me. Thank you. You know what that is? That's called a labor of love, which is no labor at all, right? So that's what happens when you're doing what excites you the most, I think. And of course, Erica, Darryl's wife, and all the other, there's somebody else I'm not thinking of, and I have to think of that person. Devin is helping today. Who have I missed? Deborah, who handles the teleconference.
Cody. Yeah.
I said Cowdy. I did say Cowdy. Okay. Because usually they don't get acknowledged.
And
Seth, who is working, and Tom, who's working on the website. So actually, yeah, if you have a specialty where you'd be interested in volunteering to help with something, we're always interested in that because we are growing. More and more people are obviously becoming more aware of Bashar. I can't believe how many people are here. And so, we do need help in different areas. So we're certainly open to hearing from you if that's something you'd like to do. So I think we're ready to get started now. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn it over to you and our little tribute to Bashar.
See ya. Isn't it bizarre having a job where you show up and leave? And get paid for it. They had to sleep on the job.
Nice work if you can get it.
Hey, did you enjoy your break?
Yes.
All right. Then we will resume this transmission by beginning in whatever manner you so desire. We thank you.
And also, Bashar, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your love, your guidance, and your wisdom, and for helping us to see the potential that within us, that you always told us was there, but perhaps now we're just starting to realize. We are honored by your love. Happy Father's Day.
We thank you. And we remind you, as any good father would, that it is not potential that we see, but what you are already exhibiting. It is just that we are honored to be asked to guide you in using, directing, guiding what you are already creating in a direction more in keeping with your joy. So we thank you for the opportunity to aid and assist in that way.
Great. Thank you, Bashar.
We will also let you know that the music you have created and the sentiment you have just shared, we were able to facilitate so that we could telepathically connect this to our civilization, who also thus then shared in that experience. And they thank you as well. All 227,743,252. Now then.
Okay. I'm going to go back to my seat now, okay?
Now then.
Okay.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
There will be an opportunity, once again, in this sharing, to exchange the idea of questions in whatever way you wish. But before that moment comes, allow us to communicate an idea to you, once again, that we would like to call the span. This involves the idea of a span of time and timing that is now upcoming on your planet. What you call the years of 2010 to 2015, a 5-year span that represents the idea of a great acceleration in energy, a great opportunity of a doorway that opens now for heightened creativity and exponential expansion. The idea that we have been discussing with you for quite some time now, as you know time to exist, where we have mentioned, where we have sensed and shared the idea, the concept that, as many of you know, things are accelerating, and that when you align with your joy, when you act on your excitement, you will flow in harmony with this acceleration, riding the leading edge, riding the wave forward to allow for increased manifestation, synchronicity, and experience of those things that are representative of what you are passionate about, of what you are excited about. And there have been times when we have also reminded you that as things are accelerating, that should you choose to not act on your joy, to not act on your passion as quickly as you can, that this accelerated wave would continue to progress, and that for some there may be a great deal more difficulty in catching up to your dreams if you do not allow yourselves the opportunity to act now on your excitement. Well, that time has come. And many individuals are now finding it more difficulty in their lives by not having acted sooner on their joy, by not having trusted the relationship of their higher self. The idea is that it is never too late, and you can always transform. For this is not said in any way, shape, or form, nor meant in any way, shape, or form to frighten you, to judge you, but simply to let you know that this is physics, that energy is involved, and that for every choice and action there is a consequence. And therefore, if you are still choosing to, as you say, resist your natural selves, to drag your feet, to not act on those things you know in your heart are representative of who you really are, then as this energy accelerates, as it expands, it will also expand any resistance, any negativity. It will amplify and magnify it tenfold, 100-fold. Because as we have said, by analogy, the higher your frequency goes, the more efficient, in a sense, you become. Then anything that does not belong will stand out and freeze the entirety of the forward motion. The analogy that we have used in your technology is the idea of the precision engine. Back when your engines were relatively simple, it did not really much matter how dirty they were. They would still operate because they simply had a few things to do. They operated on low frequencies. But now that you are operating on high frequencies, like a high precision engine, you have very little tolerance for things that don't belong. The smallest speck of dust in a high precision engine will freeze the entire action until that dust is cleaned out. Now, more than ever, the accelerated energy is becoming so refined, of such a high vibration, that it is more important than ever to let go of those things that do not belong in your field, in your attitudes, in your behaviors, in your energies. To let go of the ways that you do not prefer to be, and to smoothly harmonize with your joy, your passion, and relax into your natural self. Now more than ever. For as this energy accelerates through the span, it will, for those who continue to resist, who continue to act in ways that are not commensurate with their true selves, it will become difficult, even more so, to catch up to yourself. We do not wish you to experience this degree of struggle, strife, suffering, confusion. But the idea, of course, is that it is always in your hands. It is always your choice, and we cannot do it for you. You must do it for yourself. You must meet us and your higher self halfway in order to form a true partnership, in order to be able to receive the information, the energy. You are always being sent. You never, ever have to ask us to send you anything. You never, ever have to invite us to send you any energy, to help you at all. We have been invited and we have been sending to the fullest of our capacity. If it does not appear that you are receiving it, look to the antenna. Clean the receiver. Upgrade the vibration and the sensitivity of your capability to perceive the energy that has always been and always is being and always will be sent to you without fail, without let up. We urge you to do this, but it is up to you. In the years to come, in this span, as you approach the threshold crossing of your year of 2012, when you tip the scale from going from a slightly overwhelmingly negative collective energy to a slightly overwhelmingly positive collective energy, you can Work toward, build toward that moment, that crossing, by aligning with yourselves more fully, so that when the tipping of the scales occurs, and for the first time in a long time, the collective energy of your world is finally slightly positive. You can then ride with that accelerating, snowballing energy that will continue to accelerate forward and expand forward from that point forward in time. This is the critical span. This is the eye of the needle. This 5 years, 5 being the number of humanity. Make it count. Make it count. Make it count. As you do, allow yourself to act on the synchronicities that will expand and explode into your lives without hesitation. Allow yourselves to enjoy, to relax in your style of communication with yourself and with others. Allow yourself to know that you will know what you need to know when you need to know it. You will always be supported in whatever way you need to be supported. Do not spend time worrying, for that then will be the energy that will amplify. Again, it is up to you. But in this span, you will find new things will begin to happen as you shift from reality to reality, from parallel Earth to parallel Earth. As we have already said, in your year of 2012 will be the ending of the quarantine, where our civilizations will no longer need to have a hands-off policy on your planet. Again, of course, this does not mean there will be mass landings everywhere the next day. But what it does mean is that the rate at which the process proceeds that leads up to open contact will be, from that point forward, completely in your hands. We will no longer be prevented from having open contact with you because of our own quarantine. You will be the sole determiners of when your vibration is ready, and we will read that energy easily. And as we have said, as we read the energy now, the most likely culmination of the window for open contact will be starting after your year of 2015. There will start to be individuated contacts, more here and there. There will be more sightings here and there of the first group that will form eventually open contact with all of you, that which we have in our ancient language called the Shalanaya, which means the first ones, that which in their own language they call themselves as the Yael. You have seen their ships. You will see more of their ships. Until you get used to the idea that you are not alone. Until you get used to the idea that you do not need to fear. Remember that you are your governments. There is no separation. Imbue the idea of your organizations, your governments, with the notion that you are ready and willing for open contact. Become those governments. Take back your power in a loving, balanced, energetic, and creative way. Exemplify and express your willingness to exist in a world where there is no fear of interacting with that which represents the things you have hidden away and compartmentalized in your consciousness for so long. Negotiate with the ego structure of the government and let them know that they have only done their best to represent that which you have elected them to do. Protect you from your fear. Let them know they no longer need to do that job. That you are willing to now process yourself these ideas and no longer fear to meet all of the things within you that require integration in order for you to accelerate your energy to the point where we can meet you face to face. Over time, through this span, as you accelerate your energy, as you become into more harmonious relationship with your higher selves through this 5-year span. Then from 2015 on, as the individual contacts accelerate, then after your year of 2025 to 2033 will be the most likely window, as we read the energy now, for true global open contact to occur somewhere within that framework of time. But it will require, to stay on this agenda, it will require that you use this 5-year span, the number of humanity, to fully integrate your relationship with your higher selves as best as you can. To give up the things that don't work for you as best as you can. To honor even those things that have not worked for you as best as you can, so that you can equalize them in your energy and move on to something else without judgment, without fear, without invalidation. This 5-year span is critical for you to become more of the whole people that you are. Become a whole person. Become the human being, the true human being. Allow yourself, therefore, to recognize that within this 5-year span, there will be challenges that will, as you say, crop up. And as they do, we urge you to face them with the neutrality that is representative of the balance between you and your beliefs, and to imbue them with positive meaning so that you can always transform them, no matter what they are, into positive effect in your lives. And to build on this year after year, acting on your joy year after year in this 5-year span, until such time as you are crystallized in 2015 as a whole person, functioning with their whole being, balanced between their physical mind and higher mind, and the neutral balance point in the center from which you will move through life, and opening your hearts to yourselves most of all, to loving yourselves most of all, for you deserve to. For again, if you did not, you would not exist. Trust that the unconditional love of all that is that has created you, trust that you are worthy of it, or again, you would not exist. Relax into the knowingness that you are supported eternally, immediately. Relax into the understanding that creation is instantaneous. Everything you do is created immediately. The only reason it may not seem to be so is because you are not creating as much difference from one moment of creation to the next, and making the illusion of slow process. But every moment is a new moment, and every change is a complete change, and every creation is an immediate creation. Therefore, you do not need to learn how to speed up creating things. You need to learn how to make the next creation more different from the one that was there a moment ago, so that you can recognize how quickly you are creating, how quickly you are shifting, how quickly you are changing through the parallel realities. It is the degree of difference between one moment and the next that tells you that you are moving quickly, that you are creating immediately. When you have a very little degree of difference between one creation and the next, you cannot tell that you have an immediate creation, because you are lost in the continuity of space-time. Kenneth has shared a download with us of an idea that would, if kept in the heart, would help remind you of how malleable your space-time is, how flexible your reality creation is. And we thank you, Kenneth, for your participation in this download. Kenneth. The poem is as follows. And some of you may have heard it, for it exists on your planet. There was a young lady named Bright who set out at the speed of light. She set out one day in a relative way and arrived the previous night. The idea is that is how flexible your reality is. And when you harmonize fully with your higher self, you will understand that the speed of light is nothing but the vibration that represents the edge of your particular reality construct. It is, in that sense, a side effect of the rate at which you are aware of creating your reality. When you allow yourself the opportunity to recognize that every single creative moment is instantaneously created, when you create greater degrees of difference between one created reality moment and the next, when you recognize a greater difference between one parallel reality and the next, instead of shifting to ones that are so similar to your own you cannot tell that anything has changed, when you create that high degree of difference, you will climb toward, in vibration, the idea of the speed of light. And as you begin to match more closely that frequency, your physical reality will start to come unglued. It will start to dissolve. Space and time will be flexible, malleable. You will find yourself arriving places before you began. You will allow yourself to allow space and time to become slippery. You will marvel at the synchronicities that pop up simultaneously in your reality. Many of them, again, will turn your lives into what you have always dreamed of as fairy tales, but which you will discover is the way that reality actually works. Let go of your constructs through this 5-year span. Let go of the idea that things have to be done a certain way. Let go of the old idea of who you think you need to be. Let go of the old ideas of beliefs that do not work for you. Let go of the things that are not yours. You do not need to carry them around. Let go, let go, let go. When you vibrate closer to the speed of light, you will become, as you match the frequency of your reality, you will become the reality itself, or as we have said, ascension and acceleration is simply the recognition that you actually are the reality that you previously thought you existed in. That you are the dimension of reality that you previously thought you existed in. There will become less difference between you and the reality itself. You will begin to understand, clearly understand, that everything you experience in the reality is a version of you, is a symbol of you, is a reflection of you. This does not invalidate anyone else, for everyone else is having exactly the same experience of seeing everything in the reality as a reflection of them. And thus, when you match that frequency, things will move together. You can, in that sense, literally move mountains, because they will be a part of you, an extension of you. You will understand this. You will have clarity of this. You will understand you are the mountain. You are the trees. You are the birds. You are the bees. Allow yourself this recognition in this 5-year span. Do not resist. Do not resist. Do not resist. For if you do, you will find that the pain will only grow, the negativity will only expand, things will become far more difficult for you, and we do not wish this upon you. But if you choose to wish this upon yourselves, always we will honor your choice, and so will creation, because it supports everything that you choose to create, without exception, without exception, without exception. Except me? No. No exception. Please remember, in your search for humility, that thinking you are an exception to the rule of being supported by creation is actually the most arrogant attitude you can have. Because you are saying that you, out of all of creation, are singled out to be the exception where creation doesn't work for you. That is arrogance. Relax into the understanding that you are given the gift, the great gift, that life is meaningless. It has no built-in meaning. You are given the gift of determining what life means to you at every given moment. And more so in this 5-year span will this become ever more important for you to label life in the way that you prefer, for you to label all circumstances and all situations in the way that you prefer. Even if your physical mind and ego construct cannot always intellectually understand what that positive result may be, just remind yourself, physical mind does not know, is not capable of knowing how it's going to serve you. All it needs to do is know that it will, and higher self will show you that it will. Guaranteed, if you work with it in that way. And I remind you, once again, through this 5-year span to, by all means, strongly apply the overriding principle that we have discussed recently, that is the fulcrum point and the balance point of all that you experience in physical reality. Circumstances do not matter. Only state of being matters. Circumstances are the result of state of being. State of being is not the result of circumstances. You may choose to create circumstances that reinforce certain states of being, but the state of being is what caused the circumstances, and thus the circumstances are illusory, not real, a reflection, a hallucination, a projection. Thus then, when you see circumstances, neutralize them. Be neutral to them. Do not imbue them with meaning you do not prefer. Take that moment of pause and then infuse them with the meaning that you do prefer, so that they can then give you the effect that you would prefer. And remember, physical reality, being one of space-time, will always have echoes. Do not judge that you have changed by whether or not the outside has changed. Gauge that you have changed by how you now respond to the outside, whether it is changed or not. That's how you know you've changed. Not because of how the outside looks. It's how you respond to it that makes the difference. And then things can change, because if you respond differently to something that looks the same, that's the statement that says you've really changed, and then the outside can reflect that. But if you do it, if you say, I'm going to change within, in order to get the outside change, you are still doing it in reverse fashion. We remind you of all these principles now, because these are the principles, this is the toolkit that you need to keep handy through this 5-year span. Draw upon these tools, sharpen these tools, use these tools in this 5-year span. This is where you want to fine-tune your engine. This 5 years is specifically energetically designed to fine-tune your engine, to allow you to pass through the conduit, to allow you to tip the scale, to allow you to ride the wave of the collective positive energy that will begin to seed your world, to infuse your world after your threshold crossing in the middle of 2012. Get yourselves ready. Fine-tune yourselves. Do not leave a single nut or bolt lying on the ground. Put it all together. It will then work. It will fit. It will work flawlessly if you let it. This 5-year span, if you do that, you will afford us the opportunity, along with many others who are preparing eventually for open contact. It will allow us that much more facility also to use your collective energy, to harmonize and make agreements with your collective energy to help balance the energy of your planet, to help smooth out any shift mechanisms that might heretofore have been experienced catastrophically, and smooth them out into easy transitions, smooth transitions, little bumps instead of massive mountains. As you do this during this 5-year span, we will be working intimately with you in your dream states on many different energy levels in the template reality with your higher selves to smooth and balance out the energy of your world with you. We will not do it for you. We cannot do it for you, but we can do it with you. So if you will do your part in this 5-year span, we will then be capable of doing our part more effectively, because after all we have to work with is your energy. It's your planet. It's your world. You have to make the decision of how you want that energy to go, and we will aid and assist in the balancing of it so that the transitions can be smooth, but you must also play your part, or you give us less to work with. And we can only do so much. We are, in that sense, only allowed to do so much because we cannot do it for you and remove your responsibility. Just allow yourselves to know that you will not be alone in this transition. You will not be alone in this span, that you will be working with us, and as you harmonize yourself and sensitize yourself as a greater antenna for these higher frequencies, you will become aware of the work more and more that we are doing together on higher planes all the time. Your dreams will reflect this. Your inspirations will reflect this. Your imagination will reflect this. Your synchronicity will certainly reflect this. Guaranteed. And by the time you arrive at 2015, you will, well, maybe even quite literally, some of you, be beside yourselves. The idea is that this 5-year span is an extremely accelerative moment in space-time construction. We will help you ride that wave on the balance point so that it can be the most powerful redirecting of energy that it can be. Remember that in all martial arts, the true power is in matching the frequency of your attacker and arriving at the balance point where neither of you are moving relative to one another. When both are harmonized relative to one another, it takes the lightest touch to redirect the energy of a negative attack, because there is no great momentum or inertia to overcome, because you are moving in total harmony with one another. And as we have said, and we will remind you of now, the greatest power requires the lightest touch. That is why the greatest power there is, creation, all that is, God, Goddess, whatever you wish to call it, that's why you hardly feel it at all unless you really pay attention. That's how powerful it is. It does not have to exercise will over things. It does not have to flaunt its power over things. Why? Because it is everything. Therefore, everything moves within it. Everything moves in accordance with it, and you do not feel it because its momentum and yours are perfectly matched. When you allow yourselves the true recognition of that perfectly matched momentum, you will feel the same flow, you will feel the same power, and you will marvel at the effortlessness required to allow things to start manifesting synchronicity in your life. It will become almost laughably simple, and you will laugh. So, allow yourselves the opportunity to work with us in this way, to allow the agenda to unfold that leads to the idea of open contact, and allow us to remind you that when we talk about the idea of contact, we are not just talking about the idea of contacting those that come from elsewhere, but contacting every single aspect of your own consciousness and integrating it all into a holistic being. The holistic being with whom we have made the agreement to have contact. we will all arrive together at that contact point. You are on your way. You are well on your way. Use this 5-year span wisely, joyfully, creatively, lovingly, in a relaxed, effortless manner. Do not fret.